Oh, there. Hey guys. All right, this is the second episode here on the RC CarCast. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about what appeals to everybody and what the scale genre, why that appeals to so many people, and just kind of some topics within that. Tonight will be our first guest on the show. It's Josh Harris. Roland Rock Shop is probably what you guys have seen him most for. A lot of scale stuff, videos, things like that. And we brought him on tonight also to talk about his upcoming G6 event down at the Superlift ORV park down in Hot Springs, I think. That's right, Josh?
Correct.
So, anyway, we're going to get into some of that. We also have Howard with us tonight after his technical difficulties last time. So, now we'll just get into a couple, since Aaron and I introed ourselves last time, we'll have Howard and Josh do a little bit about them, just kind of their background and a little bit more about them. So, Howard, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your RC background and stuff like that.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Howard. I've been into RC for 20 plus years. Kind of got into the racing, dirt off-road, dirt oval, raced a little carpet. Really enjoy the crawling and scalar aspect now. Kind of enjoy that a little bit more because a little bit more creativity. You don't really kind of have to fit a certain mold. You can kind of do whatever you want, kind of design or add, build things, make the trucks kind of perform like you need to. Background-wise, for work, kind of maintenance work, do automotive repair, home repair, kind of extensive background, anything like that, hands-on. Basically, something to motor in it, something that piques my interest to try to add to it, build to it, make it go faster, kind of just customize it and kind of like to just experiment and try different things. Got a full-size rat rod project that I'm working on. Got a Harley, of course, several different RC builds right now going on. So that's basically about me. So
good deal, Josh. We gave you a little bit of an intro before. But why don't you tell us a little bit about just your background and what you got going on?
Got into RCs probably when I was around 13. My cousin got an RC10 for his birthday and brought it over to a family get-together, and that got me hooked. Got into dirt racing, two-wheel drive, stadium trucks. I was around 19 or so. Got out of that and got back into crawling. Got into crawling around 2006 and been in it ever since. And absolutely love the freedom you can get, build whatever you want, however you want. Background of a general contracting service my family owns, and I started working for them when I was 16, and you name it, we did it, and that's about it.
Good deal. Now, Howard, Aaron, and I, we're up in the Kansas City area of Missouri. You're down. What part of Arkansas are you in?
I'm in Roland. It's about 15 minutes outside of Little Rock.
Okay, that makes sense with the name then.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I can't say I ever put that together.
Glad you made that connection finally.
Yeah. Did not know that was the name of a town in Arkansas.
Yep.
Good deal. All right. So
who's Roland and how did he come into the
deal? What's your obsession with this guy? Anyway. So anyway, the topic for tonight was just about the scale market in general. Why is it the hot ticket right now, and why is what's the big appeal? It's probably different for everybody. I know why it appeals to me and so on, but we had some specific topics about it that we wanted to get into. Kind of the general thing is that is it just to look pretty, or is it what's the point beyond that? So I mean, I don't know what draws you guys individually into that scale appeal, that scale market.
And what draws me in was I came from building plastic models, and not being able to play with them just really sucked. And with a scale RC, you can build it however you want, scale as you want, and play with it.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing for a lot of people. I know you can kind of go as far as you want with it. Just taking an RTR out of the box, like the the Jeep, and you can go play with it, and it's scale kind of, but some of those guys have some pretty, they're almost static models, it seems like.
Right.
But Aaron, I don't know, you came from old school racing where it was kind of, it was, I mean, it almost was, all of them were almost scale back then.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned that in the last episode. That was probably, I mean, probably the biggest scale thing that draw me in. You know, the bodies, obviously you can take or leave, but the thing that grabbed me earliest was the wheels and the tires. I think if the tires don't look scale, I don't care how cool the truck is. If I see a nice looking Wraith with you know, a set of Rovers on it, which we have a guy in our club who does that, I kind of shake my head. I'm like, that just kills it for me, because the tires have to look scale. And the earliest thing that sticks out in my head is the first time I saw a Tamiya Frog. They had these cool 5-spoke dune buggy wheels that I've seen on full scale dune buggies. And that's literally probably the first element I saw on an RC car that was like, that drew me in. I just had a fixation with them for some reason. So for me, it's all about the wheels and the tires. That's where it starts anyway. And then of course the rest is all icing. But that's kind of what I really dig. What about you, Howard?
Well, I mean, I just kind of enjoy the fact, like running these scalers and stuff through, like on the G6 type course, or kind of like what was done at Crawlapalooza there. I mean, it's something my son and I can do together and kind of have fun, kind of working on the trucks and just kind of see if they do hold up through the course and the trails, and kind of put them through their paces. Kind of a little bit of exercise, about the only thing I get, and kind of just something fun to do.
Drive very much. The scale stuff for me, I think all of the three of you guys, it was a little different than mine. I was a pretty poor plastic modeler. I was always the super impatient one who never wanted to paint anything. Like if I had to actually take something apart and then paint it, wait for that to paint before I put it together, that killed me. All my models were white. Everything was white. That was my models. I might take a few of them and put something together, but they were still all white.
They had medication for that.
I got into the crawling side of things back like at the very beginning, 2004, and really kind of liked just I liked the slow, technical, but build-it-yourself style. The build-it-yourself thing was what really started to draw me in, and then, the slow, technical crawling was really cool. But then the scalers, the crawlers, the build-it-yourself type thing, that kind of, I don't know. You can build everything, but it's not nearly as fun to build some of that stuff as it is to build on the scale rigs. You're building something with a purpose. You can replicate a million different things rather than just trying to build a new chassis or build some links or whatever. So it's kind of a combination of everything. I like it to look scaled and I like to build it, so it's kind of all fits in there. But beyond that, how do you balance that line between performance and scale? Because if you built these things to exact scale, they would not be nearly as capable as what our models are.
True.
We drive these things up and down ledges that are, would no full-size car is really going to do if they look the way that we build them. You're not going to have a Jeep JK that can go out there full-bodied and climb up a ledge that's as tall as the JK almost. So but you got to balance that somewhere, and it's a line for. I put that question up on my Facebook today, as well as the CarCast Facebook, and man, everybody's answers were really different. I don't know. That's something I guess each of you guys can go over, and how do you draw that line?
I'm building mine. Like you said, there's a line between scale and performance, and just depending on how scale I want to go and for what reason I'm building the rig. Like for a G6, I will go scale, but I won't go full scale on like Sorka scale rules. Because I know the G6 courses are a little bit, I wouldn't say tougher, but a little more abusive.
I would say abusive is a good word. But I agree. When I build mine, it's, if I've got, someone had made a comment on the Facebook page today as well, saying that, if they're building a comp scaler, then they build different than just a regular scaler. I guess more of a Sorka type, even a Sorka type scaler. A lot of those are comp scalers. The guys who are out there to just win. But I built a G6 Wraith that I was just built to be as capable as I could and still fit in that box, I should say.
Right.
So, but then like this little Scout over here, I didn't really, nothing about it was paying attention to performance really. It was just about having fun building. So, Aaron or Howard?
For me, I think first and foremost, and this probably just comes from my RC background, is the rig has to be fun to drive. But it also has to look neat. It has to look neat crawling over rocks and going out trails. So that mostly stems from wheels and tires, and then extends to the body for me. So I'm not a super huge scale guy. Anybody who watches any of my videos know I don't spend a whole lot of time. I don't put interiors in my trucks. I don't, tack a bunch of scale stuff to them. I want them to look cool, but I think performance is probably 60 to 70% of where my focus is when I build a scalar rig.
Howard?
Yeah, that's kind of more what I aim for. I wouldn't really necessarily like build them with like the leaf springs and stuff like some do, just for the fact that it would kind of hamper the capability so much that, to me, I don't think it'd be as fun to drive. So like kind of building a little bit more custom SCA X10 or something like that is capable of climbing rocks and the trails and hills and stuff, to me is a little bit. I know I do like them more with a little bit of interior driver or something like that, so it makes it look a little bit more realistic going down the trail. I know some of them get extremely detailed, which, looks cool as can be. Some of them with the drivers holding maps or with a little radio control car in the back of the truck, just like they're full size. Some of them get pretty detailed. I can respect the time they put in that and the work that's involved with that. So.
Right.
That's probably what interests me to look at.
Some of those items specifically that kind of can make even at the kind of that first stage about how people want to compromise is like a chassis mounted servo versus an axle mounted servo. That's that's an appearance thing. That's all it is really. So that's kind of that first line about which way do you go? Are you the guy that you care that you don't see the servo on top of the axle, or are you doing it for a rule of an event you're running, or one thing on that? Aaron was saying tires. Picking a scale tire is tough. There's a lot of compromises that you have to get made in scale tires just to, do you pick the ones that look the most real, or do you pick the ones that look pretty real but are still going to perform?
That's probably the number one question I get on YouTube. What kind of tires should I get? What are the best tires? What are the best tires? And my answer is always, just pick the one you like the looks of the most. I was talking about this earlier. Someone was asking me about the Pitbull tire. I think the new Pitbull tire performs really, really well from what I saw at like the G6 we went to. But the scale look isn't really there for me, at least not as much as I would like. And I don't like a tire on a scale truck that performs too well. I don't like it when it can just walk right up. I would rather see the thing wheel spin a little bit, see some hop. So for me, there's that scale trade-off with performance. I don't like something, that performs too well on a scaler.
The Pitbull tires, I do think the newer ones, the new ones are leaps and bounds ahead of the old ones, and I think they do fit what the full-size Pitbulls look like, pretty well. The lug spacing and things like that is where those compromises come in, but that's one of those lines that, you know, Eddie at Crawler Innovations. I know Josh, you know him pretty well and have worked. You work with guys down there as well that have worked with him, and there's nobody who does more tuning on that type of stuff. And I actually like the Axial Maxxis tires, the looks of them anyway. They don't perform like those pit bulls though, and I do like a performing truck, and this truck's heavy, so it's going to it's not going to be an ultimate performer. So I'm kind of fighting that urge to go with those pit bulls. But
yeah, they work, no doubt.
So, you know, and then shocks is probably the next big thing. It's, you know, the best looking shocks, none of them seem to work very well. The ones that are that small diameter look just like the real thing, but good lord, they are as the Kings are the best example. RC 4-wheel drive makes some great looking shocks, but God, they have never made one that works worth it. I've owned almost all of them just because they look so good, but
I haven't seen any scale shocks that really work that well. I mean, they're all undersized for what they're on because the scalar's typically heavy, and none of them perform all that well. So again, there I would go with, you know, find what looks the best and go with that.
Yeah, you know, I use the Proline SCX scale shocks, and they work pretty well. Now, they are a smaller diameter, but they're not small. They're not scale small like a King or something like that. So, I mean, I kind of walk that middle line on a 1.9 size rig. But, you know, what are you running on your little JK, Josh?
I run my new JK has the Icon shocks on it.
Okay. And, yeah, those are the metal-bodied SCX-10 shock from Axial. And
right, yeah.
I think Aaron had commented how much better those worked. I haven't actually ran the Icon ones, or the newest update on them.
Right. They are a lot smoother than the old style.
Let's see. You know, and then getting into the driving side of things, you know, I've definitely spend more time working on these things than driving them. That's kind of my side of the hobby I like the best is working on them. But, you know, driving a scale rig, I don't know that there's much that matches that in the other genres of RC. And I don't know, I mean, just going out and trail riding does that exist in any other?
No.
Go ahead, Josh.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that was the part about scaling that surprised me because, you know, I did a lot of bashing in RC where you just go out by yourself, maybe you go with a friend and you go out and do some donuts and jump some stuff. I never in a million years thought that I would enjoy driving an RC car slowly. But the first time I drove an SCX-10 and just watch it articulate over some bumps and, you know, watch it struggle with some obstacles and stuff, I have no idea why, but I was like, this is a lot of fun. I think if a lot of people who haven't done it tried it, they would surprise themselves like I did. There's something there to be had that's not had in any other part of the hobby. So if you haven't tried it, you know, go pick up, you know, come to, you know, find your local club, go to an event, someone that is bound to let you drive their truck. You know, if anybody's in Kansas City, I'll let you drive my truck. You know, give it a try because I think you'll be surprised how much fun it is to drive one of these scalers.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Yeah, I myself have been able to get a couple people.
Go ahead.
I've got a couple people involved just for 1 or 2 times driving a crawler or a scaler, and I mean they seem to kind of find the enjoyment as quick as myself and Aaron have, and they're quick to want to buy something or get into it, and trying to find a decent starting point kind of sometimes can be a little tricky money-wise of what they want to spend or want to end up with. So
that kind of segues into a really good point about, you know, just about like the money, like you were saying. You know, if you give someone a scaler, or, you know, you're in a group of scalers and you see people, you know, someone stops by and says, well, you know, you always get the, well, how much does that cost question. And, you know, a scale rig, you can say, you know, you can go buy this Jeep for whatever the kit costs off, or the RTR costs off the shelf was like $3.99 or whatever it is. And that is literally all they would need to go out and have just as much fun as anybody else there. But you're at a comp and you have guys come up to you and say, "Well, how much does that cost?" You're like, well, if you wanted to be competitive, if you wanted to buy this truck, you could spend $2,500, and that immediately gets 99 out of 100 people to tell you that you're an idiot for an old man playing with a toy truck on the rocks. And so, but
I always lie when someone asks me that question. I'm always, how much does that cost? I'm like, $200. Go to your local hobby shop and check them out. You don't want to scare people off, because if someone asks me, I'm obviously been doing this for years, so I have a lot more invested than Joe Schmo, who does it occasionally. So I never tell them how much I have wrapped up in a rig. I don't think there's much point in trying to scare somebody off. So
no, and that's it. I guess I've never thought about just lying, but that's I suppose that's an option. It's
definitely an option.
I was just kind of him and haw and be like, well, you could get something like for like $400 or $600, but I don't know how there's not a real good way. And it seems like the comp side, maybe that's not going to be as big of an issue. But since the comp side is kind of slowing down and the scaling is just on as big an increase as it's ever been, the competition side of scale has really grown. Hey, Josh, have you ever done a Sorca comp? I don't think these guys ever have.
I never have. Nope.
No. I went to the Axial Northwest scale comp up in Oregon last year, and that's the only one I've ever been to, and it's a very different thing than like what we do here locally at Goat Hill, where we have the timed laps, which is much more similar to the G6, which seems to G6 style anyway, with a big ring that you run. You either run it one lap or multiple laps, and it's based on a bunch of different things. But that seems to the only thing that seems to be the downfall of the G6 style stuff is that it can turn into a little bit of an athletic event, if you're trying to be competitive.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So I don't know what's your guys' feelings on that side of it, and including trying to get as many people in the hobby.
The G6, when Parker and the crew came down for the first one at Superlift, it brought new life into our club. We gained 15 members after that, and just steadily kept growing. It's like Aaron had said earlier, there's just the aspect of getting out and walking the trail with your buddies that no other area of RC has. And that's one of the aspects of G6 that I really, really like. And you can go at your own pace. You can haul balls all the way to the finish line, or you can take your own pace and just enjoy it.
I guess that's a good point. Howard, when you ran the G6, you and Tyler, how long did you guys take on that first stage?
It was a lot of fun, but kind of I was making a minor adjustment. What kind of got me was when it started out, Parker had even made a comment that it wasn't a timed event, that there'd be like kind of that you didn't have to be the fastest one out. But then, in fact, that's kind of how it was. But it was, we spent our time out there, went through the trail, and really enjoyed it. And I think it needs to have almost kind of like a breakout time that will kind of slow people down a little bit, kind of give more people a chance, kind of almost like they do drag racing or something like that, where there's kind of a set time that people need to come close to.
Yeah. Now, I know at ours they didn't do, but I know at some of them they do. They do a adventure class and an ultra class. Did they do that down in Arkansas, Josh?
No, we didn't have that many people, so we just ran the basic 1.9 and 2.2.
Okay. But that was the same way that we did it in St. Louis. I think in St. Louis there was there 40 or 50 drivers out there? I don't
About 50.
About 50.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I was of the competitive nature that day, and just. I think you were too, though, Josh. I think you.
50 yards behind you, headed to the finish line, and my battery died.
You probably could have got a rock and hit Josh in the back of the head with it.
Yeah.
So, you know, that is one thing with the G6 stuff that I, you know, at Crawlapalooza, seeing the Sorka comps, which are like a 10 gate comp style course, and then seeing the G6 stuff down at Crawlapalooza, I kind of tried to make it a blend. I did add the dash, but that was short. I tried to make it short. You know, I think the fastest times were a little under a minute. The slowest times were, you know, under 2 minutes. So, and that was, you know, between 2.2 and 1.9. So it wasn't all that long or anything like that. But it didn't turn it into that. I don't know. It seemed like it was probably, you know, half marathon. It seemed like G6.
Mm-hmm.
Probably closer to 2 miles, but whatever. But, you know, so trying to balance that, how athletic, you know, it turns into, I don't know. That's the only downside of the G6 stuff I can see. But I do really, I really like, you know, going out and running 2 miles worth of trails.
You're crazy.
At the one we just had, we did 5 miles, man.
Yeah, I mean 5 miles. That's one of my most favorite things to do. Is just like with the 1.9 scalers is just go hike single track somewhere. I go down to my parents' house in the Ozarks, and I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving. Hopefully, we have some nice weather, and just go out and hike the single track stuff down there. So that G6 is kind of right in that line, but I got to hustle a little. So I guess right into G6, you've got the one coming up, Josh. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and kind of where people can get more info and what you got going on?
All right. We're having our club ARCC G6, the Zombie Hunter. It's going to be at Superlift ORV, Hot Springs, Arkansas, November 23rd. We'll be getting things cranked up around 3 o'clock. Everybody hit the start line around 4. That way it's going to be getting dark in the valley around 5 or 6-ish, so it'll be a good night run. Hopefully it won't be too cold. More info on Facebook. Go to Arkansas RC Crawlers, or on RCC in the competition section. There's a thread in there.
Okay.
We'll have 1.9 classes, 2.2 classes, and we'll have, thanks to Crawler Concepts for printing these out. I don't know if you can see them or not.
They're starting to come through. Oh, those are your driver numbers?
These are the zombie hunting permits.
Nice.
You can have, these will go on the windshield, smaller ones. And the bigger ones are for whatever you want to put them on, your radio or just as a keepsake.
Nice. And, you know, for G6 stuff, I don't know how much, if anybody or who isn't, I guess, you know, more privy to some of that information or whatever, but what kind of, you're running just 1.9 and 2.2 down there again?
Yes.
Okay. Are you doing any of the, I don't know, not mandatory but highly suggested stuff?
If you want to throw some zombie stuff on there, a little blood and guts, I'll give you a few extra minutes on your time.
So, well, good deal. What's your cost on entry and everything down there?
Cost would be $5. That's pretty much covers supplies for getting everything running and setting up.
So, good deal. Howard or Aaron, have you guys thought about trekking down there?
I'm not going to be able to make it. My anniversary falls right around then, so I like sleeping in my bed, so I won't be making the trip down.
No? All right.
What'd you say, Howard? Time you want to pick me up, Josh, I'll be ready. I said, whatever time you want to pick me up, we can head on down.
what is it, like 8? That's only like 6 hours down there, I think, from
That's
here.
6 hours, roughly.
It's not that bad. It sounded like Aaron. Anyway.
That was the timer. We're
Oh.
right at 30 minutes, so if you want to run over, that's fine with me.
Yeah, that'll be right. Well, kind of, we talked a little bit about scale competition. As far as scale competition in general, it seems like it's more than just popular in crawling now. But I haven't done any of the other stuff. I know short course racing really blew up. I kind of think that seemed to be attributed mostly to scale. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on like short course, Trans Am, and then drifting. What are they doing for drifting competitions?
Howard can elaborate on that. He was telling me about the other day how they're doing it.
The only thing I've found so far, like for competition type, they had some like poles in the insides of the course with like 3 colored chains. So then I guess whatever chain you got with so many points, like closer to the pipe, you'd get more points than the one farther out. And that's kind of the only thing I've seen so far. I mean, most of it I think are more just kind of get-togethers and just kind of run around the track. I'm kind of new to that, so I don't know a whole lot about it yet, but I plan to.
Yeah, and I know in the full-size world that drifting stuff, it was like I think it was judging, like subjective judging.
Mhm.
It is.
I didn't know if they were trying to go along those same routes for that or not. But again, that's subjective judging. I can only imagine the whining that will ensue.
It seemed kind of like watching monster trucks or something. It's like it's a paid show. It's not really a competition. I think that's probably going away. I would imagine, at least video games and things, it was all about how close you're getting to the clipping point. So the method Howard talked about is probably what's up and coming, I would guess, for judging those events. They call them tournaments or comps or whatever. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I don't think that's going to go on around here. We're just going to go out and probably none of us will really be able to drive. So it'll be just trying to get around the track.
Yeah, that's
Probably
We'll see if I get my
ride the
drifters
best
on.
without wetting their pants.
Have you got that
Laughing
problem
at
fixed,
each
Howard?
other.
Get those pills.
What's that? Yeah.
Not a going problem, it's a growing problem. Is that what the commercial said?
Nothing about that.
Anyway, well, we'll kind of
I
just
thought
get
this was
into
supposed to be a family-friendly show.
it. I can mute your stuff if you'd like. So, I guess we can kind of get into just what's new with everybody as far as projects and things they've got going on. What else they'd like? I know we talked a little bit about Josh's event coming up, but we can kind of get into the project side, just update on what we're working on and that type of stuff. So we just go right down the list, starting with Aaron.
I am working on installing a dig in my scaler. It's something you don't see, but I don't know why. It seems like it would be hugely useful, and I know for our Goat Hill events, there's no rule against having it, so I will be having a dig at the next event. So I have a VP Hertz dig I'm installing, and mated that with a VP tranny case, so it's all anodized red. It looks pretty cool. So that's what I'm working on now. I got the rig torn down, and I'm installing a better servo. That's just the round of upgrades I'm doing. An 8711 in that truck, and the big Castle Pro BEC to run a big ass servo, a second servo, a winch controller, and then all the lights and stuff. So I thought the big BEC was a good choice there. And then still the RC10 project still going. That's progressing slowly. And that's what I got going on right now. My benches are full, so I need to get a project done and off the bench.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Take one off of Harley's hands.
Please finish something for me.
I know I have mine. My dilemma is nothing compared to his.
I'm getting harassed on YouTube. Why aren't you finishing whatever? Why aren't you finishing?
Harley has Project ADD.
Oh God, man.
He can never finish one. He's always on to the next.
Yeah, the Project Boneyard behind me is pretty disgusting. I've got the 1.9 ray over there, which that one fell way back. The Poison Spider, the Rexo, the Rock Bouncer, this Scout. I have a jet boat over there with like a half a brushless system in it.
He has to look because he can't even remember what he's working on.
My broken quadcopter.
You finished that Scout quicker than anything I've ever seen you finish.
Oh, I know. I was fully obsessed with this thing. I don't know what was up with that, but it just worked out. That's why I'm trying to just get it done so that
It's not done yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's hopefully I get it done before I lose interest and sell it. Seems
It'll
like my
get the
biggest
patina
issue.
look just bouncing around the workbench.
Yeah, stuff stacking on it. Howard, what's your projects?
I'll never get the rest of my parts for my drift car. I'm going to build that. I'm going to do another 1.9 build, probably maybe like a Ultra 4 type chassis or something for it. Putting something together different for Tyler for the 1.9 class. So several things for the winter.
Yeah, Josh, what do you got going on?
I'll be doing up a Rexo here for too long, and be upgrading my twin hammers with a Durwood Designs, that double D steering rack and shock tower. I'll be upgrading that.
I wish I would have tried that steering rack in my. Oh yeah, I forgot about the twin hammers. But in my twin, it's sitting over there too. That steering rack looked really good, and that was my biggest complaint with that truck.
Yes.
What are you doing on the Rexo kit?
I'll be using the Blue Monkey RC kit and using the XO front end.
Right.
I'll have Freaky Skins make me up some Rock Shop skins in my theme, and hopefully lots of VP goodies and whatnot.
Yeah, hopefully we see more EXO stuff roll around.
I know where there's one partially. I know where there's one part put together. I'll ship it to you. Just send me your address.
That doesn't count as a project because I'm using that on my Rexo. So that gets rolled into that and it doesn't count. But,
Just throw something on top of it. He'll completely forget he's got it.
yeah.
I know.
If it's not in plain view, it doesn't exist. So, anyway. Well, I think we hit most of the stuff we got on here. Well, we can... Aaron, you can talk about the all the feed stuff you got going and all that.
Oh yeah, the podcast and all that stuff is now live. Basically, we got all that up this week. We got submitted to iTunes. Everything's live there. So if you go search on iTunes and you're an iOS user, you can subscribe to the podcast that way. If you're an Android user, head out to the Facebook page. I posted a link out there to our feed. So it's a little bit different subscribing on an Android device. You have to just link to our feed. So all of it's come to the same place. We're out on podbean.com. You can go out there and search for our podcast there, and you can actually stream it straight from there over the web if you want to listen from a computer or whatnot. But all that stuff is live now. So
Right, and that's the audio only side, so you don't have to look at
Right.
Howard's bald head. But so thanks for all
Please
that
excuse
work,
Josh's two black eyes for the next.
But thanks for doing all that work, Aaron. I'm glad that's all up there, and I didn't have to deal with. I looked at part of that page and it's like, yeah, I'll let Aaron do that. So
it looked a lot worse than it was.
yeah, I'll take your word for it. Let's see. One last thing on this agenda. I think Josh had you had thrown some feelers out earlier about like a KOH type class. I didn't have much time to read on any of that. But what's your idea, or what do you idea for that? What do you plan on trying out there?
Paul Senior.
So the only bald fat guy here.
What I had planned was watching the 2013 KOH race. It really drew me in and got my gears turning in my head about a scale race. And what that would be was have a team, you'd have a racer, you'd have a support rig, and the racer would be out on course, and if he breaks down, he would radio back to his pit crew the parts he needed, bring tools, you'd load them on the scale support truck, and then the support truck would have to drive out to the racer and repair it on course. And the course would be 3 laps, alternate routes for each lap. There'd be a timer, an A&B transponder system, just as scale as you could get it.
Yeah, I mean, what are you thinking as far as like vehicles and class rules? Like, how do you want to try and keep the scale, spirit of it without people just building comp scale rigs?
Well, I've been talking to Jerry at u4rc.com, and I really like his set of rules that they laid out for their Ultra Series. And it's pretty simple. You got a stock class for 1.9 and 2.2, and you have a mod class for 1.9 and 2.2. So the rules are fairly easy. There's really hardly any at all. No hand of God, no foot of God. You have to use a tow strap to right your rig. As long as the vehicle looks scale, it's legal.
That seems easy enough. What's the difference in the stock and mod class?
Let's see. The mod class for the 2.2 is the most drastic, I should say. It has a steel tube chassis and a Delrin or metal skid. The mod class for the 1.9 is... I'd have to look at them again because my mind's not there right now.
Right.
But they're fairly simple rules. Just about anybody can run in it.
Just talking about what you were talking about there got my gears turning. It would be cool if it were like a 2-tiered race, like so you're like I know in Baja and stuff, like the support trucks, while the race is going on, they go to predetermined pit areas to refuel, the bikes and the the buggies and stuff when they come through. So it would be cool if like there was the high-speed race going on,
Right.
and that also the support crews would have to scale their way to predetermined points for battery change or something. That'd be really cool. I think.
Good idea.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That does bring in another level to it, which is kind of, then KOH is the exact same way. There's there's predetermined pits out in the field, and if they're KOH, I can't remember what the rule is on if you break your car like out in the middle of the race course. I don't know what the rules are on being able to have your pit crew go to those cars. I know, like a driver, I don't think the pit crew can. I know the pit crew can't bring a driver parts. I think that unless they're in the pits, the pit crew can't help them. I know that's always a thing, like a driver having to hoof it back and carry an alternator back or something like that, or try and get a ride with another team that's coming, out there or something like that. So, I mean, there's a lot of options you could throw in there, and it could be, it could be very interesting. I know.
It'd be really cool.
I think Goat Hill would probably be something that, could accommodate that, and I think the Superlift is even a little bit more probably. I mean, that place is how big is Superlift down there, Josh?
It's roughly around 1,300 acres.
So, a lap or two around that, you'd probably be all right.
Oh yeah.
Or dead,
Yeah.
in my case.
So, well, that would be a. Do you have a discussion on that going somewhere, Josh?
On RC Crawler in the competition section.
Okay. I had seen a post on it on Facebook somewhere, but I didn't see where you had anything else. So that's interesting. We'll have to go check that out.
It's just I'm just getting a feeler for it.
Uh-huh.
I'm open to suggestions, and really hoping that it gets enough interest that it will happen.
Yeah, I think that would add another level to our Goat Hill races, and I think that could be quite a bit of fun.
It'd be great for someone like me who can't run around the course. I could just slowly drive a truck to a predetermined point.
You and Paul, because Paul, always yelling at Paul. Come on, Paul.
That's what you get for picking the oldest teammate in the club, right? Oh gosh, we'll have to edit that out.
Exactly. Sorry, Paul. You're not old.
Sorry, Paul. We love you.
Well, good stuff. All right, guys. Let's kind of wrap up here. We'll just do channels and pages, things like that. Josh, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you at?
On Facebook, Rolling Rock Shop.
You have YouTube channel and stuff like that too?
Yes, YouTube channel is Landshark 501.
Okay. You have anything else going on or anything like that you want to throw out there?
Not really.
Okay, no. Howard, you got anything?
Howard, are you awake?
Not much. Facebook, I'm awake. Facebook, I got Howler Custom RC. Haven't got much going on anything yet. I've got a channel, but nothing on there to look at yet, so I won't mention that yet.
No problem.
And Josh, you might check your bushes in the morning because I might be hiding.
Howard's address is.
Howard's violent today.
Go ahead.
Aaron, throw your stuff out there.
You guys can find me on YouTube. It's just Evil Villain RC. On Facebook, under the same exact name. Twitter, same exact name. So, if any of you guys don't know who I am, I appreciate some likes or maybe some subscribes. And we're always working hard to try and bring cool stuff, things that we find interesting that we think other people will like. We're always trying to bring them to show you guys. So, subscribe if you want more of that. And
my stuff is Harley Designs Inc. on YouTube, all one word, Harley Designs Inc. Facebook is just Harley Designs. Twitter, it just pumps out my Facebook, so I think that's Harley0706 if you're just a Twitter person. And then CarCast, the RC CarCast stuff. The Facebook page is RC CarCast. The YouTube page is RC CarCast. If you're listening to this and you found it through iTunes or something like that, you can go find those pages, and we've got questions and things like that we'll throw up through the week, or just more information. If you have any questions, rccarcast@gmail.com. You can find all that stuff. It's pretty well. We should be easy to contact if you're trying to find us. So, and any of us could be answering a message. So, if you have anything specific, throw a name in there. But that's all I got. Josh, thanks for trying this out for the first time, first guest.
Thanks for having me.
And if any of you guys got anything else, and if not, we'll end this.
Yeah, I think it worked out really well. Looking forward to having more guests on here and stuff, and having Howard finally. So, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate everybody watching and listening and liking and subscribing. So, catch you guys on episode 3.
Yep. See you guys later.